Tea for time. You know what I would like to take a time out from is this horrible situation I got going on.
Yeah.
Welcome back to a new year and a new timeout. When I say new, just, a new pot, a new, what is this? Oh my God. A new episode. Thank you. I can't think straight. I currently believe I have the flu. 2 of my daughters have the flu, and I wasn't able to move yesterday at the game. So I passed out on a little bench in the suite. We had like all of our friends in town, and I was a real downer. But turns out had a pediatrician come over, and Chandler has the flu, which makes me think Tyler had the flu and still has it, and that's what I have. Body aches are serious. Anyways, we're going to move on because the playoff picture is set. And what a playoff it's going to be. The 2 byes are Kansas City and the Lions. We will be hosting the Vikings. Washington will be going to Tampa Bay. Green Bay will be going to the Eagles. Broncos to the Bills. Pittsburgh to the Ravens. And the Chargers to the Texans. Now, it's very interesting. Everybody was asking us yesterday, the game for LA mattered more than maybe people let on, I feel like. Like, they pulled all their starters, including Matthew. I was glad they did that. But if we would have won that game, we would have hosted, I think, Washington. And then we would not be going to Detroit if we won against Minnesota. We'd be going elsewhere. But I will say one thing. I think Matthew likes this. So he's pumped and makes me pumped once I get over this dang illness. But it is set. Year 16 for Matthew is over, which is so crazy to me.
I didn't even think about that.
I know. I looked at him last night in the midst of my, not poor thing him, poor thing me. But he won't come close to me, which I completely understand. That might also be a thing this week leading up to this playoff game.
What do you mean it might be a thing leading up to the playoff game?
Well, if all my kids have the flu,
Just need to isolate him?
I don't think we should be in this house with him. So it would be us moving, and I know everyone's like, why would y'all move? There's 5 of you and 1 of him, because all of his work stuff and his film room and everything is here. So we would just get out of here.
Yeah.
And I think that is on the table right now. We have 105 fevers going around this house right now, and we can't have Matthew with that going into the playoffs. So we're going to do our best to not let him get that. But it's interesting. People are complaining about the seeding.
Yes, people have a lot of qualms about seeding. Has it ever been different?
Not that we could find. So it's always been this way. And it's interesting that people are complaining, because here's my take. And I know we've benefited because we got a home game because we're NFC West, and we're going to be hosting a 14-2 team. If you're a 14-3 team coming to us, you shouldn't have a problem beating us. So why are you complaining?
Yeah.
Now, I think people don't want to play us.
I wouldn't want to play us.
Which, but again, your record's that much better than ours. You should have no problem. So the seeding's been like this since the beginning of this playoff situation. And I don't see it changing. It's kind of like college football. You win the SEC, you win the Big Ten, or whatever divisions still exist in college football. I don't even know. They've changed them up so much. But you get a bye.
Yeah.
You might not have a better record than somebody else, but you get the bye. So, as much as I want to sit here and be sad, I'm not sad because we get a home game. So I'm a little biased about it. But I'm also like, this has been this way forever.
Yeah.
So why are we all of a sudden complaining about it?
Yeah, I know. I think people are just noticing it this year because the NFC North is bizarrely stacked.
But there's been teams in the league that have had 11, 12 game winning seasons and don't make the playoffs. That has happened multiple times in history.
Yeah, I wonder why everyone's kind of tuned into it more so this year.
Because they're mad because a 14-3 team is traveling for the first game in playoffs.
I know you guys want to go to your home game, but I'm sorry. Listen, you just got to come here.
It's going to be an away game anyway, so I don't know why people are upset.
Okay, I have a theory that Rams fans will outnumber Vikings fans.
Wow,
by
that's a huge theory for you.
I know. I could be so wrong.
I think you're going to be very wrong. But did you see the Vikings owner? This is why you could be wrong too. Spent $2 million on tickets aftermarket.
Detroit, yeah. Do you think they probably can't afford to do that in SoFi though?
They're not doing that.
There's no way.
I mean, I did it last year or 2 years. Was it? God,
Super Bowl.
3 years. How many years have we been here? My gosh, for the NFC Championship game, and I was by myself. That was a lot. Mm-hmm. Like to put it all together and to get the tickets to these people. There were a lot of tickets and a lot of. That was a lot of work. But
and reminder for those of you who are newer, Kelly got a lot of fans to the NFC Championship. The year that we played, it was the Niners, right? Mm-hmm. And then went on to win in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was worth it. And actually, we were in New York for the show, walking down, I don't know, 5th Avenue, and this couple stops me, and I look probably like I do right now, not like myself, and I'm like bundled up, and they're like, Kelly? And I was like, hi. And they were like, oh my God, we were 2 of the fans that you sent to the NFC Championship, which was really sweet.
That's amazing.
As much as I complained about how much work it was awesome. And I love that people got to go and watch that occur.
It paid off.
It did. Hell yeah, it did. You know what? But the amount of money you spend to go to a Super Bowl, you lose money. It makes me laugh because I feel like people are like, yeah, the Super Bowl. And I'm sitting there going, God, how much is a suite going to be? Or how much are we going to have to pay? And, there was a quick thought process that we were not going to get a suite to this game. But I mean, by the time we buy tickets for everyone involved, we might as well just pay for a suite.
Right. Well, okay, we're going to get to how the playoffs look for your household, how they look for Matthew and all that. But we have a couple of questions just about game and all that, because we haven't been here in a couple weeks. So you guys have been sending them in, and we just wanted to make sure we touch on, especially there was a lot of talk of delay of game last night during the Vikings and Lions game.
Yes.
So tell us more about that. How does that happen? Why might that happen? And what's the penalty?
Okay. So delay of game is mostly on the quarterback, but also could be on the coach a little bit. Sometimes delay of game comes from, and this is where fans can make a difference. Like, I really don't think fans realize the difference they can make. And the Lions fans know. Like, I'm sure it was very, very, very loud in that stadium last night. And while he's getting the play call in, they're yelling. He can't really hear it. So he's asking for it again. And it's taking time. Play clock is 40 seconds long. So from the end of the previous play and the start of the next play, it's 40 seconds. You have got to snap the ball between that time. Now, if there is loud noise, if they're yelling really loud, you can't hear the play, or if you're in the huddle trying to relay the play that the coach just called to you in the huddle and they can't hear you, you're having to repeat yourself. So it's 40 seconds unless there's like a timeout or a penalty, then it's a 20-second. Like if it's a dead ball, it's only 20-second play clock. There's reasons sometimes you would take a delay of game. So say it's 4th down and your team has the ball on their own, on the other team's midfield, and your kicker can't kick that. Quarterback goes back on the field for 4th down, tries to get the team to jump offsides. Okay, and that's on a hard count. So you saw Jared do it at the end of the game last night. He had him jump offsides, and what happens is when they are out there and it's 4th down, they're getting them to jump because that's an automatic 1st down. But if they don't get them to jump, a lot of times they'll take the delay of game to push themselves back 5 yards because a punter is able to kick it longer.
Oh.
So like sometimes they're out of position for a punter in a way that it is going to go into the end zone, and when it goes.
Interesting.
So they'll take the delay of game to push themselves back to give the punter a little more space.
Wow. Okay, that answers a question I've had for a long time now, which is loss of yardage ever a good thing? And I didn't realize that maybe it's just hard for a punter to finesse
sometimes they're in like a weird, and I don't know if it's the 50 or what, but sometimes they're in just a weird yardage point where they don't like it, and so they'll just take a delay game.
Interesting.
And they'll try to get them to jump in the meantime. Because it's win-win for them. Yeah.
If you listened to TMA last week, you would have heard the really silly story of how I broke my left hand about a month ago. And I have to tell you, my life got really challenging very quickly. I couldn't zip my own jacket at the beginning, let alone cook a whole meal. And I was headed down this slippery slope where I was just eating out for every meal. It was so expensive. It was so unhealthy. I had no idea what was in my food. And then I decided, you know what? I need to lean into one of our sponsors, Hungry Root. And for the past month since this happened, I mean, it has been life-changing for me, and I plan on using them way beyond this cast coming off. Hungry Root's incredible because they're like this personal shopper, but also nutritionist. You're getting food delivered to you that has no artificial sweeteners, no high fructose corn syrup, no preservatives. It's top quality meat and seafood that's free of hormones and antibiotics. And it's all these things that I care about, but I was not going to be able to or have the time to really factor into my life. And I wanted to start this new year strong and healthy, like so many of us. So hop on board with Hungry Root. You won't regret it. It's a permanent lifestyle change for me. And right now, you should take advantage of this exclusive offer. This is a pretty unbelievable offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Yes, you heard that right. Go to hungryroot.com/morningafter and use code morningafter. That's hungryroot.com/morningafter, code morningafter to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/morningafter, code morningafter.
So that's why you'd want to take a delay game. Now, quarterbacks have their eyes on that clock. If you don't notice, they are in the end zones, and they're kind of ticking down. They're big enough for quarterbacks to see. So if you have a veteran quarterback, they are more likely to take less delay of games because they are just used to the process, used to where the clocks are in stadiums. They've played in these stadiums a little more than younger QBs, and it's just like a feel thing. Like they know when the 40 seconds is kind of getting to that point. But really, there should be no delay of games unless they're meaning to take it. I mean, it's obviously a penalty that you don't want. Mm-hmm. It's 5 yards, replay it down. It is a dead ball foul. So that means there's no play run. And they just push them back 5 yards and they repeat the down. So if it was 1st and 10, it would be 1st and 15. Gotcha. It's not a huge penalty. But it's something that should be not done if you know what you're doing, I would say. But I did see, I don't remember what quarterback it was yesterday during the games, and it baffled me. He ran out of bounds for a 6-yard loss.
Why?
So here's something that I think people don't understand. A quarterback can throw the ball out of bounds. Mm-hmm. Incomplete pass. You start from the place that you were. Mm-hmm. But if you run out of bounds 6 yards behind, that's a 6-yard sack.
Oh.
You start from where you ran out of bounds. I don't remember who it was, and I was literally out of my mind yesterday because of,
because of the flu and
Yes.
hosting.
Yeah, and I was hosting. Yes. I mean, like, it was, I slept the entire Rams game. So, but I was like, what? So if a quarterback throws it out of bounds, it is an incomplete pass. Also, that the Lions got gifted that safety, the non-safety call. That should have been a safety. But there are a lot of it. I mean, I would say a lot of missed calls. It was funny. We were also watching that game, and I don't remember which team it was, but a receiver caught it, tucked it, took a step or two, and then fumbled it. I think it was Minnesota, and they called it an incomplete pass. And
yes.
Yeah, the rule guy came on. He was like, yeah, that's an incomplete pass. And I'm going, how? Like, you can tell that he caught the ball and then lost it.
The script was really trying yesterday, and I don't know that it panned out.
No, actually, I think it did.
You think he did?
Listen, I knew who Matthew wanted to play that entire time. he's not playing them the first round. I don't know if he would. I don't really know how seeding works after that. But we'll be going. Oh wait, we'd be going to the Lions.
Yeah, would you go?
Oh God, why does this always fucking happen?
Not to put you on the spot, but
I don't know. I mean, probably. I don't want to.
Well, Hank will be very excited because we'll definitely pull a show together.
Fuck that. No. I mean, God. No, we might. Okay. Well, we got to get through Minnesota first, which is a 14-3 team.
Yeah.
Now, we've beat Minnesota before.
Yeah, that was my favorite Rams game of the year.
Yes. It was fun. It's a really fun game. But beating someone twice in a season is not easy.
Yeah, and they're going to be hungry because they just lost to the Lions.
So, when I found out we weren't playing our starters, although yesterday was an incredible game, Jimmy had a great game.
Yeah.
Thought we were going to win that. We would have hosted like Washington or one of those teams. When we didn't win, and I knew it was going to be Minnesota or Minnesota or Detroit coming to us, I wanted Detroit because we did not beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's easier to like split games than beat someone twice.
Now, is that a superstition of yours, like a balance
Maybe
thing? Or do you think there's a reality to that?
I don't know. I mean, you look at film, and Minnesota will look at the film when we played them, and they'll be like, all right, how did they beat us? You know, so there's film out there as to how we did it. Now we got to come up with something different.
But also, I believe we still did not have a lot of players back from IR.
Oh, really?
When we played the Vikings, I think we had like just gotten someone back, and I'm forgetting who.
Yeah.
But we didn't have our O-line.
Yeah.
Yet.
Okay, that's good.
You know
I
what I mean?
didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And we'll have Rob back. Rob sat the last 2 weeks, but that I did not realize that. And you know what? That was a very physical game last night. There were a lot of injuries last night. Detroit lost more defense. I don't understand. I mean, that offense is just carrying them right now because their defense is all on IR.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, good for them for holding down the fort.
Oh, yeah. It's very impressive. Now, on the other side, we have Kansas City. They have a bye. Patrick Mahomes is going to have his baby, I believe, which that's fucking great timing.
That couldn't have been better.
Wow. They planned that out perfectly. So that'll be nice. They'll have, I think they're having their baby during the bye.
None of the Chiefs, I felt like none of the Chiefs were out on the field. They must not have been.
Which sucked for Bengals fans.
Yeah.
Because they needed the Chiefs to beat Denver. And they got out. They just didn't play anybody. Yeah. So poor Bengals. Well, honestly, I bet the Chiefs did that on purpose because they don't want to face the Bengals right now because they're hot.
Yeah, Joe Burrow, I mean, is just having a great season.
Yeah. So they missed playoffs. It is crazy how it works, but this is how it has worked since the beginning of time. It's a reason there's divisions. You shouldn't be playing people twice. One time, just like college. One time, unless you see them in the SEC championship again. So if they want to talk about reseeding and redoing it, then they're going to have to do away with divisions.
Yeah, and then that's just messy, and I don't know.
Because you think about it, the reason you're playing your division twice, if you have a terrible division, you should have a better record.
Yeah, that's true.
But sometimes in this game, the division's not great, and they all have about the same records.
And it's like you could prepare. And you could move things around. You could reseed. You could change it. You could do all of that. But it's not going to change the fact that some people are going to get injured. Some teams are going to get hot. Some are going to flop.
Some refs are going to make bad calls during games. I mean, like, everything is in play here. So I don't really understand the complaints. Your team made the playoffs. If they're that good to win the Super Bowl, they should win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, don't worry. You can just come to LA and chomp it out here.
I mean, like, the amount of skull chants we're going to have next week is going to be crazy.
I know. Well, again, I am just saying to Rams fans right now, show up on Monday. Chargers are not playing here, so if you're a Chargers fan, come root for your city. We were here first.
Yes.
Just by the way.
LA, come on. Just I'll go to a Chargers game. I'll root for them. That's fine.
Yeah, I am rooting for the Chargers until they become our problem someday.
That would only be in the Super Bowl.
So until then,
yeah, we're talking about this. How about the fact that we don't have to play the AFC until the Super Bowl?
I know.
Like, what if the AFC is that much better than the NFC? So, I mean, we're talking about all this crap. You're not going to change it.
Yeah, and by the way, I feel like it changes every year which conference is like a little has more stacked teams.
I mean, the NFC North has never been this good.
Yeah.
So like
it just happens.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's going to be okay.
It's okay. And if you're again a 14-3 team, you should have no problem with us no matter where we are.
I know. Well, that was quite the incredible.
But you are going to have a problem with us, just saying.
Oh, definitely. I mean, honestly, I feel good sitting in my fandom right now. Yeah. It's when you get hot, like you've always said.
Yep.
And
yeah,
we have had all of our starters resting and getting healthy this week.
Yep.
Getting ready, getting hungry, home game.
Home game. Wow.
It's good.
It's exciting. Did you know that when we won the Super Bowl, we won 5 in a row, lost our last game to a division rival, San Francisco, won our division, got the 4 seed, and won the Super Bowl.
Wow.
So, I don't know. Also, Allie and Sean had a baby. They had a baby again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait.
All things are happening.
Are you saying what I think you're saying? Are they the Rams?
We're going to win, guys.
Hell yeah. No, I'm so here for this. Our team is, we said this weeks ago, but we're underdogs.
Yes, and we're young on the defensive side, which makes this is going to be a lot of their first playoff experience in NFL because it's their first year. We have a lot of rookies on the defensive side. So I think they're going to be hungry and excited, and I don't know. It'll be interesting. Playoffs are always interesting. I mean, it's football. Anything can happen. So, and now everyone's 0-0. Except for the Lions and the Chiefs, they're 1-0 because technically they
won a round. Okay. Well, as you guys are hearing on this episode, flu season is here. Kelly has the flu right now, and I had the flu on Christmas, which was super fun. But it is that time of year where immunity is compromised, and one of the little lifestyle ways that I personally love to just protect myself against the elements is with honey. And lucky for us, we have this amazing relationship with Manukora honey, which is the richest, creamiest. Honey is not something I thought could be better or worse, but then I tried this and I realized, I don't think I could just go back to any regular old honey. And when you taste Manukora honey, it's really not all in your head. The bees that they use actually collect nectar from a tea tree in New Zealand. And this tea tree has 3 times more antioxidants and prebiotics in its nectar than your average honey. So it's the good stuff, and you only need 1 teaspoon of it a day. So it's super easy. You just head to manukora.com/morningafter to get $25 off the starter kit, which comes with an MGO 850 plus Manuka honey jar, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, and a guidebook. That's manukora.com/morningafter for $25 off your starter kit. Speaking of all of that, what does Monday look like for you personally? And what does bring us back to the idea of maybe leaving the house this week, giving Matthew some space? Is there a shift in tone during playoffs?
To be honest, no. Not with Matthew as much as people might think. He treats it as a regular work week. And normally we would not leave because I do feel like we take his mind off of football, which you also need when you're preparing for this kind of stuff. You need your space to just get away from it. But considering what we're all going through, we might just have to leave, which he was not happy with that suggestion when I said it today. He was like, let's just wait and see, I'll probably sleep in a different bedroom. But normally it is a pretty normal work week. Now, the fact that it's on Monday really pisses me off. I mean, also that gives us less time for the next game.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that's fair.
And I'm like, when are we going to record timeout?
See? Lots of things.
I know. I got that notification last night. I was like, damn.
I know. So again, it's, I hate waiting. And now we have to wait for the last game.
Yeah.
Which is annoying.
They know what they're doing there.
They do. Well, I think they were hoping for the Lions to lose that and come to us, so then they have another story to tell. It's the same damn story over and over again. God, am I tired of that story. I bet everyone involved is so tired of that story.
Yeah.
Like, I
Except
guarantee.
for Matthew, he sounds like he's ready to rumble.
No, he's definitely ready, but he's like, it's gonna be the same, Jared and Matthew. And it's like, God bless. Haven't we played this card enough?
And don't we know by now that they're just very two different quarterbacks? I don't know why you would compare them.
No, well, yeah. It's dumb, but you know, NFL's got to have some kind of storyline. Maybe we can make one.
Sure. I mean,
what can be our headline? Let me say some outrageous shit.
Yeah.
And that'll
Kelly,
be the storyline.
You should upstage.
Yeah. I mean, that it would take a lot. It would take, like, I don't know, me.
Can you get pregnant in the next week?
Maybe.
With your first boy?
Yeah.
That would do it.
That might do it. Yeah. Maybe I just go act like I don't know. I was going to say, I've had all my babies in Detroit. I'll just go there and have my boy, and that'll be the storyline.
I know that would be
that might. I don't even know if that would. You know, it definitely wouldn't. What is a storyline that might overcome that?
That might if Aaron Rodgers announces his retirement this week, that would be a really big headline.
But this would be next week. When these headlines come into play. We gotta make it through Minnesota. I don't know why I'm looking ahead to the Lions. We gotta make it through Minnesota. But I'm honestly, you know what? Matthew's 16th year. Everyone counted us out at 1-4, or him out. So fucking proud of him. I honestly looked at him. I remember looking at him when they were 1-4, and I was like, 4 games isn't a lot of losses. Go fucking win.
Was that the first week of playoffs when we played Detroit?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's right, because that was it was the highest viewed wild card playoff game of all time.
Oh my God. See, we got to come up with a different storyline.
I know.
It's horrible.
But we'll see when we get there. Okay, so take us back to this week. So Matthew's schedule is...
I don't know. It's kind of messed up a little bit. It's not a regular week because we play on Monday. You know, I asked him walking out the door, I was like, what's your schedule like? And he was like, I don't even know yet. So he went in today. My guess is they will have an off day. Just because we played on Sunday.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Whew. I don't remember playing. I
have the photos. I'll post them.
I'm just going to show y'all real quick. This was me at our friend's game, which is supposed to be like a party time, you know, and Matthew wasn't playing, so I really had no stress. That was me. And there were multiple pictures taken in multiple different areas. But I literally did not. I think I saw a couple downs. It's horrible. But I did hear all the screams, so I was like, okay, we're doing well. I just couldn't get up. I physically could not get up.
Yeah.
And you know when you're really sick like that, your head goes to the worst places.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're vulnerable.
Yes. I was honestly really happy to hear that Chandler had the flu, because then I was like, okay, I have the flu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, this week it'll be interesting. I don't really know Matthew's schedule. We'll have a bye week or a off day probably tomorrow, I think, or the next day. So we will have a date night, kind of like a regular week. Well, if I feel better. And yeah, it'll be come Monday, we'll probably tailgate. 'Cause it is a night game. And I will say I almost started crying, so I wasn't feeling good, and I didn't know why. And I had just gotten home from taking my kids skiing, where Tyler kept me. I think I got 10 hours of sleep. So,
the whole trip. Collectively, wow.
Yeah, I was there 5 nights. I think I got about 2 hours each night. And when I came here, I was just miserable. But, you know, everyone's texting about the game, about the playoff game. And, you know, I really wanted to cry, because the thought of hosting people. I was currently hosting. I hosted before we went to ski, when I took the girls skiing. We were in New York before that.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Christmas. I mean, it's just been some weeks. And I love, you texted me yesterday, and she goes like, year of no, are you going to the game? You shouldn't be going to the game, you know, maybe rest. And I was like, I have friends and I have to go.
Oh man.
And I did.
I was so mad when you told me. I was like, oh gosh. I was like, can you tell them not to go?
I mean, it was really, I'm so glad they were here, but it was, I would have rather sat that game out.
Yeah.
But you know what? I said this to Matthew, because I was like crying to him about, I was just exhausted and sick. And finally I looked and I was like, I need to stop complaining solely because we don't know when this is going to end. And then I won't be hosting.
Yeah.
Not that I'll miss it, but like, you know, people come to watch him play and support us. And I just need to realize that that's what they're doing. And one day it won't be happening anymore.
Right.
So with that being said, I'm very excited about the first round of playoffs. We are going to buckle down in this house or buckle down somewhere else. Me and my girls. Mm-hmm. We will get hopefully Matthew feeling perfect for this game. And when Monday night comes around, I'll be a nervous wreck, just like I always am, you know?
You know what? Let's lighten the mood with a little bit of football foreplay.
Oh, my God. Are we going to go back to the Lions punter?
Yeah, we're going to need to talk about this.
What were they doing? What were they doing?
This is a bait.
You know what? I loved it because whoever was running the screen or like putting the images up, they were fucking with those announcers because they showed it the first time and you could tell they were like, ah, and then they showed it again. And they were like, okay, really? Like I was giggling very hard at that.
I mean, it was which I think he's the kicker, by the way.
Is he the kicker? Okay.
Yeah, he's the kicker. And
it's Bates?
Yeah, it's Bates. And he's, you know, he's the one from Texas that had that whole storyline a couple weeks ago. And I was laughing because like I was like, he looks like he's rolling out his like on a foam roller, but there's no foam roller underneath him. And I mean, I wonder what he thinks. Like, is he embarrassed?
No, I think he's loving that.
I mean, he didn't look bad.
No, everyone loved him. Everyone was talking. They were like, "Who's this? Who's this guy?" Like, you know how there's that. Well, never mind. I'm not going to get into that. But I feel like everyone on Twitter, wherever you were looking, everyone was like, "Wait, who is this?" Like, I want a piece of this.
I know,
not me, but like people.
Yeah, no, exactly. I know.
Yeah.
TIMEOut.
Yeah.
I was like, "How old is he? How old am I?" Like,
yeah. See.
That was my brain this whole last weekend. I was like, Jimmy G's on the phone. like, I love like being on this show and not being famous whatsoever because I can just say
whatever you want.
Yeah, this guy's hot. This guy's hot.
Yeah,
like,
it's nice.
There's some cuties in the league. Let me tell you.
You and my mom. My mom. Every time they show a player, she's like, "Oh, he's cute," or "Oh, he's adorable. Oh, whoa, look at that one." I'm like, "Mom."
Oh, don't get her started on Jalen Hurts.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah, I know.
I
would put my 2 cents in, but I can't.
I know. That's a big timeout.
You know what I found really funny yesterday is the headline was like, if the Rams lose, at least they'll lose pretty or something like because he's so attractive.
Oh, Jimmy.
Like at least it'll be a pretty win or a pretty loss.
And he had a great game. I mean, he
did have a great game.
He looked
from
awesome. From what you heard.
All the screams that I heard, I was like, okay, that sounded good.
On the whole, I mean, this weekend was really such a fun weekend to watch because so many players like him were out there for the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of teams were going for 2.
Yeah.
You know, so many people were getting their first touchdowns ever.
It is kind of awesome to watch the last weekend of football when new players get to be out there and kind of give it show what they have because it's that last game is important for if you do sit starters
internally. It's
important for those secondary players because other teams are watching. Mm-hmm. And if they have a good game, I mean that's film for them. So and real film, not pre-game, not what is it? I don't even know what it is.
Practice film?
No, what is the preseason? Not preseason. Where people aren't really playing, you know? So some people are playing their starters, other people are not. So it's kind of nice to see, you know, them go against the real football players and see how they do.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I know. Okay, one last football foreplay.
It's everything.
I texted you at one point over winter break, and I was just saying, God, what have we started here? Because there are so many people whose minds are in the gutter now, and I kind of am obsessed with it.
I mean, it makes football that more interesting for people who might not get the game as much.
It is so much fun.
I used to not have the sound on during games, and now I do because I'm trying to find football foreplay. I'm not even really listening to what they're saying. I'm just like, okay, he said hole. Something's coming. Something's coming.
Well, I'm always like, how are you going to dig yourself out of this hole?
I mean,
they start these sentences.
Yeah. I don't. Do you think they realize it until? I feel like they realize it maybe after.
I don't know. And also, they're probably desensitized to it to a certain extent
For
because
sure.
yeah, it's just football is so erotic naturally.
It's crazy.
There's just you don't have to do much, and it gets very very raunchy. I mean, listen to this. This is during the Texas-Arizona state playoff game. The announcer said, "With their big man all season long."
Oh no. Oh no.
Also, the fact that it's a child, probably like
I
what?
know.
It's
God,
probably
that's
not
like
a big man.
God, he's like a 19-year-old. Oh my God. Oh no, I know exactly what that is.
You do?
That's number 4.
Oh yeah.
He said Arizona State. That kid was
Yeah.
good. He's the running back. But did you see what I put out there about that?
Oh yeah.
That was a little questionable for me. He was he got popped in the head multiple times.
Yeah.
And was throwing up on the sideline.
Yeah.
And was like shaking his head every time he got up. And I was like, is no one checking him for a concussion right now?
I know, and some people wrote in, and allegedly he does have a tick or something with the head shaking.
Oh, he does. Okay.
So that's not confirmed, but the other stuff really questionable.
Yeah, but if he has a tick, I feel better about it.
Yeah, hopefully.
For sure.
And then there's Joe Burrow, who in a post-game interview said, "We locked eyes and I just started doing it."
Oh my God.
I love that one.
Oh my God.
And then another QB, Jared Goff, during his post-game conference last night said, "We like it hard." And I think Dan Campbell said something like that last week.
What is happening?
Lions are horny.
They are.
I mean, start calling them Rams with all those horns.
It's it is so. I mean, the fact that the quarterbacks are now getting into it, that's pretty good. We should start. I haven't watched post game interviews in a long time, but I think I'm gonna start watching them.
I think Puka got me in the mood to start watching them.
The horny routes. We had a horny route 2 games ago.
Oh,
yeah, we did. Someone broke early, and I looked at somebody and I go, "That was a horny route," and they were like, "What?" I was like, "God, you don't listen to my podcast, do you?" It's like one of my friends. I'm like, "Damn it!"
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are the things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Really quick, it's funny though, is I don't even know if I said this, but with Matthew and the catch, and when we were watching that game, I turned around, I was like, "What is a catch?" And he was like, "I honestly don't know." I don't think anyone knows
What a catch is.
what a catch is.
I know. And there was just a whole lot of like it was like kind of football foreplay in and of itself. Last night there was a lot of like reverse and forward of the camera, just looking at the ball, just going or like on the ground, and just like, is he using the ground or not? Like, is that a catch or not? And I'm like, football's so subjective.
No, it is. I mean, it is. Okay, last thing people really asked about was incentives, which I think this is interesting. Incentives are in their contracts. So if players aren't getting maybe the contract they want, they will ask for incentives in their contracts, saying like, all right, if I say it's a quarterback, if I throw, I don't know, 40 touchdowns, there's a bonus. It's like working in another job. When you hit a certain point, you get a bonus. It's the same thing as incentives. Not all players have incentives. It's betting on yourself, which I love in a way, but it's also like when they do that, it kind of feels like they're not betting on you. So I don't know how I feel about incentives.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
I mean, there's only so much that's in your control, too. So,
like, are they hoping that they hit those incentives? Because if they hit the incentives, they're helping your team. But if they hit it's costing them. I don't know.
I don't know. That is kind of a weird dynamic.
Yeah, but it's just like bonuses. I mean, it's the same thing as in a real job.
Yeah. And I mean, what is fun to watch that we saw a lot this weekend were teams and I guess coaches supporting those incentives happening.
Oh, yeah, trying to get it done.
Like, if the owner had a say, would that be a different conversation? Like, do the coaches just say, F the owner, I'm going to throw this guy in and cost you $2 million?
That's a very good question. Like, are the owners happy about it? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is interesting.
I'm not gonna put my 2 cents on that.
Timeout.
Yeah.
Timeout.
That's probably not great. But it's an interesting concept. Like it's the same thing if you're a CEO and you have bonuses wired into your employees' contracts. You want them to hit them because clearly they're helping your company if they do. Mm-hmm. But you're also having to pay them that extra amount.
It's interesting.
It is interesting. I don't know. Were there a bunch that had incentives that weren't in the making the playoffs?
I don't know. I mean, I wrote down Geno Smith was one.
Oh, Geno Smith
with Seattle. So
he was not going to be in the playoffs. Did he get it?
Geno Smith sealed his $6 million incentive with a game-winning drive in our game yesterday. $6 million.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we gave that to him. You're welcome.
You're welcome, Gino. Come buy some tickets for our fans.
And then Mike Evans was all the rage this weekend too.
Because he got Jerry Rice's record. Is that right?
He's now tied with Jerry Rice's.
Tied with Jerry Rice's record.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
$3 million incentive. And a couple of you wrote in like, is that tacky to talk about? And I think, no. I mean, these guys are working hard.
Is that tax-free?
Hell if I know. I don't know.
Aren't bonuses tax-free?
I don't think so.
Oh, God.
Because think about how easily you could get around paying taxes.
True. Okay. On that note, we are not a tax podcast, but I'm sure there's one out there if you'd like to go answer that question for us. And we will see you guys after this first round. We're not sure when, but we will update you because of the Monday game. And maybe, just maybe, it'll be a podcast about us coming back to Detroit. We're so excited.
We're so excited for that.
Yes, but we got to get through Minnesota first, and it's going to be a tough team. So we let's do this.
All right.
What is it?
Time in.
Time in and right. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Time in and Ryuta.